Hello and welcome to Mind Over Media. My name's Jim Martin.
And I'm John Martin. And we're going to go ahead and introduce ourselves. We're going to call this our first episode. Uh, I don't really like to call it our first episode. We want to talk about what's going to make this podcast unique as compared to some of the other podcasts that you might watch or listen to. We're going to dwell on, death and Fangoria, talk about bologna sandwiches.
And what we had for dinner.
And what we had for dinner. Jim, which one do you want to talk about first? Bologna sandwiches?
For me, it's always dinner.
Okay, let's talk about dinner. Ribs?
Ribs are good, especially the bone.
The bone part of it. Folks, let me tell you about the backstory on that. We were talking earlier about the best part of the rib, and Jim said, well, it's the meat. And I said, is meat really part of a rib? And he said, well, yeah, that's why I like the boneless ribs. And I said, well, what part of the rib is boneless? Jim, what did you say?
Well, medically, we have two sets of ribs. We have the ribs, the bone ribs, and then behind the ribs, you have the boneless ribs. And those are the prized ribs.
That's the coveted rib,
right?
The boneless rib, and that's I guess that's why you want to be careful when somebody's standing behind you; they'll stab you in the back.
That's where
that rib.
That's where that came from. People trying to get the coveted ribs,
the coveted,
because you can't get them going through the front. The ribs get in the way.
Yeah. So the boneless rib is the most coveted, and listen,
and people will literally stab you in the back to get them.
We've been on the air for 15 seconds, and we know the story about the boneless rib. So I guess is McDonald's stabbing a lot of people in the back to get that McRib?
Ask the people at Burger King, Hardee's, and the truth is out there.
I was wondering. I was at Burger King the other day, and there was a guy. It looked like he had an iron lung. He had stitches all the way up his back. I guess.
Well, when they take out the boneless ribs, when you're alive, then it's a process. It's a process. So, yeah, there's a recovery time there. There's a recovery time there.
Is that guy a former McDonald's worker, or is he just?
No. McDonald's workers aren't going to steal from themselves.
Okay, so they're
going to stab their
competition in
the back. Yes,
okay.
Of course.
Okay. So they're waiting when the restaurant closes, and they're sneaking in there, and
sometimes they'll be hiding in the walk-in coolers waiting for them.
Okay, I get it. Well, you worked in fast food.
I did.
Has that ever happened to you?
Somebody tried one time.
Yeah,
one time.
Jumped out of. Well, hey, listen. Speaking of that, somebody did rob you one time.
That is true. That is true. I was at El Pollo Loco. I was the manager at the time.
Yeah, what happened there?
It's kind of a funny story, but
they don't do ribs there, I don't think.
No, it's chicken.
Chicken ribs.
Yeah,
those are small ribs.
Yeah, they only have the one set. So
the one set, okay.
But I was closing. It was closing time, and the doors. I had just getting ready to lock the doors, and two people came in with masks on, and stupid me, I thought it was a couple of my friends playing a prank on me. So as they're trying to get through the door, I have my foot at the bottom of the door, and I'm just pointing at them and laughing. Ha 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 ha. Well, the guy behind the door,
did he have a gun?
Taps on the glass with a gun and points it at me. So by this time, the other guy had jumped over the front counter. So I let the guy in. The guy that jumped over the counter.
They didn't shoot the gun, though.
Did not shoot the gun.
Okay. And at this point, they didn't hit anybody with the gun.
Nope. Nobody got hit.
So no pistol whipping.
No, not yet.
They're relying on the fear of the weapon in hand.
Absolutely. The guy who jumped over the counter grabbed all the employees except for me and one other employee and took them back into the dry storage area and was holding them there with a knife.
So they had a knife and a gun.
Okay. The guy with the gun took me and the other employee into the office and told me to give him all this cash.
Was it a pistol?
It was a pistol. It looked like either I think it was a 9 millimeter.
So it was a semi-auto.
Semi-auto 9 millimeter, yes. And it's crazy, but he's got the gun pointed at the back of my head while I'm trying to unlock the safe.
And now, see, for people who've only seen that on TV, that's got to be nerve-wracking.
Yeah, it's nerve-wracking.
Yeah,
You know the combination. You've
Yeah.
opened the safe 1,000
Yeah.
times, but you're fumbling and trying to get it open, and the guy's getting pissed off, saying, "Open the damn safe! Open the damn safe!" And I'm saying, I turn around to him, look him dead in the eye, and say, "I'm a little nervous right now."
Were you sweating when you said that?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
I was getting angry
Yeah.
though,
Yeah.
and I kept going through my mind because he kept looking behind him,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking I can take that gun from him,
Yeah.
but I didn't try.
Yeah.
I didn't try.
Yeah.
I opened the safe. I gave him the little bit of cash that was in there, and they left.
They didn't lock you guys in the freezer for hours and days, or
Well, they took us back to me and that other employee back to the dry storage and said, "Stay back here for 2 minutes or I'll shoot you."
okay.
Well, as soon as they left, I left.
Yeah.
I basically followed them out the
Yeah.
door looking for a license plate, but they were long gone.
You mentioned something interesting when he was had the gun to you and you were opening the safe, that you had the idea a couple of times. I could take this gun. I could take this gun. I'm
Yes.
glad you didn't. But
I think about that to this day, actually.
and you probably could have. I mean, obviously these guys were amateurs. They planned it, obviously, so maybe they weren't amateurs. Maybe they made a living out of it.
Right.
But that's, and I guess if it's something like that has never happened to you and you only see it on the movies, we kind of get numb to that.
Right.
But when you told me that story when it first happened, I felt at first glad that nothing happened to you, then anger,
Yep.
and then, God, I want to catch those guys.
Yep.
Let's go find those guys.
Absolutely.
And then it's like, well, let's just drop it. And,
Everybody's safe.
Yeah.
We're not out anything. We're all alive.
What do you think,
just
Jim? What's
But
the
hold on. I want to say one more thing, because this is what really pissed me off about the whole thing.
Yeah.
There were 3 deposits in a little lockbox up top that I didn't give them.
Yeah.
I just gave them the cash from that night. The next morning, we came in, and the manager said all of the money was taken.
Oh, so he kiped some money.
He took 3 deposits and blamed it on the
robbery. Right. Did you ever mention anything?
yeah, I did mention it. It pissed me off. It's ridiculous.
So he did the exact same thing that
As the robbers did without the gun, though.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. So
He actually got more money out of it than the robbers did.
that's actually as interesting, because what I was going to ask was, what do you think makes somebody plan a robbery like that? Is it desperation? Is it just, let's get some easy money? Instead of going and getting an application from you, you were managing that time.
Yeah.
You probably would have hired them, or maybe not.
Well,
but
it's very possible.
But do you think it's? Do you think some people are just pre-wired to do bad, or?
I think it's kind of a combination, John.
Yeah.
I think some people are just looking for the thrill and want the easy cash.
Yeah.
And then you have the people that are doing it because they want to try and get their food for their kids or their family or something.
Did they take food?
No, they took the money.
Just the money, no food?
Yeah, no food.
They didn't even ask for a piece of chicken?
Well, they asked if I had the coveted ribs.
Oh.
And I said, "Dude, you're in a chicken store."
Yeah. Chickens only have one set of ribs.
How retarded are you, man?
we do not do the coveted rib. You got to go next door for that one. Okay. But getting back on track here, what makes people do that? Are people inherently good, Jim?
I think people are inherently good, John. I really do. I think they want to do good, but I think there's circumstances and things that happen in their life that just cause them to go off track.
I'm going to give you a scenario here that might change your inherently good thing? Because I tend to lead towards people are inherently
Inherently bad.
bad, and I often thought of this. I wrote a paper on it once, and the whole premise is you've got two people, okay? They've never seen another human being before. Every day they're out there surviving. They have to get their food.
I see where you're going with
And
this.
however they get their food, whether they're killing animals or
Yep.
picking berries from a tree, they have a little water source that they get. They have a little place they call home. It's probably close to a water source. They've got shelter. They're used to that. Entire lifetime goes by and they've never seen another human being.
And then they meet each other.
Suddenly, they're out at the watering hole and he sees a guy taking some of what he perceives as his food stocks. Maybe he's killing a rabbit, and that guy's thinking, well, that's my rabbit. Is he going to say, hey, let's hunt together and we can get twice as much food? Or is he going to say, I
Get
have to,
off my land or
or,
attack him.
or worse, you know, do a McDonald's and stab him in the back?
Right.
What's going to
Right.
happen? I tend to lead Jim towards either you're gonna kill him.
You believe that he's gonna attack him, and I can see that in
Yeah,
that scenario.
yeah, and that doesn't mean that, he's doing something wrong,
No, he just
uh,
believes that that's his, and
but
what
we, as a society today, would say that's wrong. Um, it's survival, so or these guys with the gun surviving? Or, certainly they weren't saying, "Hey, that Pollo Loco was built on my land and my water source, and they took away my berry tree. I've gotta get over there and get mine."
this was my prime rabbit hunting area.
Right, they weren't thinking that.
No.
But in a deeper sense, were they somehow, taking control of what they thought was their due?
Well, obviously, they thought they were doing, or they wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, yeah,
I just, I find it hard, though, to believe that inherently bad. I just can't believe that.
yeah. You don't wanna
I
believe it.
don't wanna believe it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't wanna believe
Exactly.
it either, but I look at the world today and the things that we do and the, McDonald'sing that we do, um, which is backstabbing.
It happens all the time.
A and
It really
and
does.
and I look at the way people treat each other and the things that we say to each other, and it leads me to believe that a lot of the stuff that we do, you've heard of the term virtue signaling. There's been a lot of that in the last few years, where people pretend to be virtuous and pretend to care,
In public.
in public, because it somehow gives them some kind of street cred or some points for their group or their
Or
who they
just to try to make themselves feel like they're a good
right,
person.
right. Look, I really do care. Look at what I told that
Right.
guy. I wore a mask, so I'm really good. And then they go out and take the mask off and really don't.
Well, they're gonna hold the door to the bank for somebody to go in and then go in and rob it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. Well, that's two separate things, though. I mean, I would kind of like that bank robber because deep down, I think he does have some morals, and that bank robber would be doing it for a different reason. I think. Um, Now, the bank robber who's just gonna walk in and shoot a couple rounds into the ceiling and say, "Get on the damn ground." That's a different kind of character.
Right.
But if he's holding the door and he's saying, "Go ahead and go on in," and I'm sorry what's about to happen. There's a guy who's actually got some moral ground and some values. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but that means he's inherently good. There's a situation there that's
And
causing him to have to do
yeah,
something bad.
yeah, and I'm not saying that good people can't do bad things because they can, obviously, um, but I think inherently bad people continually do inherently bad things.
Absolutely.
And I think it comes down a lot to, like I said, the whole virtue signaling and integrity. You know, um, and I think that's something that's missing in society, Jim, is
Integrity.
integrity. Integrity and shame. We need to bring shame back.
That is truth. That's the
People
truth.
people need to feel ashamed about certain things.
Yep.
When you and I grew up, um, we were pretty close. I'm a year ahead of you,
Right.
and we were best friends growing up. We did everything together. We knew when we were doing something wrong.
Oh, yeah,
And
absolutely we
if we
did.
did it wrong, we felt bad about it, and we didn't have a problem suffering the
Ab
consequences. That's good people doing something bad.
Right.
So it does happen, but we were ashamed of it.
We were ashamed and we felt bad for
Yeah.
it.
It
And
feels
there's
like
things today that we did back then that I
a shame.
laugh about, but I
Yeah,
think, "Boy, that was stupid."
yeah, yeah. And I think the problem is, this whole thing about fat shaming or whatever shaming.
Shame
You know,
'em,
sh-
so
you know,
what?
if it, and
It's a
they'll say,
form
"Oh,
of
that."
motivation for most people.
Well, and that brings it like bullying. I'm not going to say I'm pro bully.
I was bullied when I was young.
I don't know of anybody in this entire planet who wasn't bullied.
Yeah.
Even bullies get bullied. It's part of life. It's how we learn our social standing. It's how we learn to be social. If you look at dogs, there's a pack leader who bullies the other dogs because things got to be his way.
Yep.
You look at humans, same way. Apes, any type of society, there's the person who's in charge, and that's us. We have this ability to think about things. So we want to be dominant. We certainly we want to follow rules as human beings. I think that's the easy way to do it. But we're challenging those rules and we're saying, what if I did this? Would I be able to get a little more powerful if I did that? And sometimes we need to be put in our place and say, no, step back, kid,
Right.
or step back, adult, even. But we need to bring back the being ashamed is okay, and if you're overweight and somebody calls you overweight and it hurts your feelings, okay.
Do
I
something about it.
I know I'm over. Jim, I weigh 250 pounds now. I've my fighting weight was 201. I'm 50 pounds more than when I was fighting and felt good.
Yep.
Uh, does when I go out and I see myself, I go to the store or I go to Walmart and they got these big glass doors,
You
and
bully yourself basically in your mind.
I look at that and I say, "Is that me? Oh
"What
my
the
god,
hell
that's
happened to
shameful."
me?
I sometimes I wanna turn around, get back in my car, but then I
I can't
stop
be
and think, "I
seen
won't be
like
able to
this."
fit in my car." It's but I'm ashamed of what I have become,
Right.
physically, and the only way for me to get better is for that shame to get so deep that I do something about it.
Right.
So,
You gotta actually feel the need
yeah.
to do it.
Yeah, so if somebody calls me fat and I'm out in public, I'm
You're
not
gonna
gonna
get
get mad
pissed.
at them.
Yes, you are.
No, I won't,
You will get mad at 'em, and then you'll come back here and you'll
because I am
understand.
fat. I'm not gonna
But
say,
in that
"You have no
moment,
right to call me fat."
that's exactly what you would think in the moment, John.
No.
Yes, it
I
is.
if now, in another circumstance, if they did something where I felt I was doing something right and they said something, but I if I had a blue hat and he said, "That's an ugly blue hat," that wouldn't make me mad either.
Well, why would it?
I'd say, "I'm sorry you don't like it." But I know it's blue and it's a hat that I picked out and put on.
And you
I
like
put
it,
on
so
this weight the same way I put on that blue hat. It just took me a little bit longer to pick this weight out and decide where I want to put it.
there we
You
go,
know?
I like that one. It
Yeah,
looks good there.
the hat, I know where that goes. The weight I was having a problem with. I tried it in my butt, I tried it in my side. Um, the thing I don't like about this fat that I'm carrying now, and I never thought I'd get to this point, Jim. It's kind of weird. Is these things on the side here?
Yeah.
I thought I was. I swear, I went to my doctor and I said, I think I have kidney disease.
No, you know what that is?
My back ribs are
Your
breaking.
bolus ribs are falling.
My boneless rib fell. Jesus. Okay. But anyway, I do think we need to bring back shame, and I do think we need to be uh, a little bit better at having integrity. What is integrity? And that's hard for people to say.
What's your definition of integrity?
It's real simple to me. A wise man told me years ago, and I'll never forget it. He looked at me um, and he said, "Here." He had mentioned integrity, and I said, "Oh, yeah, that's just being honest." And he said, "Oh, no, no. There's a difference between honest and being having integrity. Having integrity kid. Uh, I don't know if he called me kid, but he probably did. He said, integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. And it's really simple. I thought about it and I was like,
Yeah,
holy cow, that changed
that's
my
so
life.
true.
It really changed my life right there. It's am I acting? Am I pretending to be good when people are around, and when they're not, I'm stealing that last cookie, or
Right,
you know, nobody's looking, so I'm going to take this pen from work. Nobody's
right.
looking, and I can get away with it
Yeah,
because
I know I'm not gonna get caught.
they don't know I did it.
I know I'm not gonna get caught, so
But
I'm gonna do
you
it.
know you did it.
Right,
And that's integrity, is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. The opposite of that would be, virtue signaling.
right, right.
You're not doing it for the right reasons. You're
You're doing
doing
it to
it.
make yourself look good in other people's eyes.
This is that person who drinks every single day, slaps his wife around, goes to the house of prostitution, and on Sundays puts on his best suit, goes and
Goes to
sits in the
church,
front row,
sings
and
all the
sings
songs,
all the songs, and recites everything just perfect, and people just think he's such a lovely person, and then he goes home and beats his wife and drinks a bottle of whiskey, and maybe goes and robs a chicken place.
could be.
That
Absolutely,
but that's what's missing, is personal accountability and integrity, and be ashamed when you do something wrong. Yeah, that's my definition of integrity.
and that's a damn good definition, John. Damn
Well,
good.
um, but can you be honest or be dishonest and still have integrity? Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask you a different question. Would you rather be friends with somebody who is honest, or somebody who has integrity?
Uh, well, you were just starting to say something, and I believe that if you actually have integrity, that means doing the right thing even when no one's watching, then that person's gotta basically be honest, right?
Well, okay, so let me ask you this. So I'm a little overweight, and that I just love this shirt that I'm gonna wear tomorrow to this function that we're going to. Um, and I love this shirt so much, and I put it on, and I want to wear it. I think I look. Yeah, now I'm going to sound like a girl. Do I look fat in this shirt? Well,
And my answer is, "No, John, it looks good."
you're telling me that, to be honest, have integrity, you have to be honest. So would you say, yeah, that makes you look fat and you look horrible in it, knowing that that's going to make me
Hurt your
feel bad?
feelings, right.
So, do you have to be honest to have
But
integrity?
but isn't that the same as, calling somebody fat and you saying, "Oh, that's not gonna hurt my feelings because I know I'm fat."
Well, right, yeah, yeah, no,
So,
but it's the shirt I'm talking about. I really like the shirt.
well,
I know I'm
the
fat.
shirt is great, John, but just not on your body.
Yeah, that might be better. That might be better. Yeah, but, so you're saying, to have
Integrity.
integrity, you have to be honest all the time?
No, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying what the way you said it was,
I feel like you're being a politician right now, Jim.
no, no,
I
no, no,
feel like
no.
you're skirting around the issue.
No, 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 no. No, no, no.
Are
Integrity,
you saying it's okay to lie sometime?
well, it's everybody's gonna lie sometimes.
Oh,
Little white lies,
mhm,
absolutely. Sometimes you lie to make somebody feel better, like with your shirt
yeah,
situation. If your wife asks you if she looks fat in the shirt, you're of course gonna say, "Absolutely not, you look beautiful."
yeah.
But
Well, yeah, or I might say, um, why don't we try this other one so we match? I don't know.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. No, I would tell her that she looks good, because she always looks good, and I've never seen her look bad,
and when you
and
love
that's the truth,
somebody and
and
they're a
that's the
good
truth.
person, that
Yeah,
that outside beauty is
that's another thing. You growing up, you always hear beauty is skin deep, and when you're a kid, you think, "Ah, what are
yeah,
you talking
right.
about? What are you talking about?" Uh, and kids aren't gonna understand that.
No.
People my age will, and your age. When you find that person, what matters is the way they treat you. Uh, the things that they do for you,
Yep,
uh, the way they care for you, that speaks volumes.
it does.
Is that person a person that you'll be able to count on? She might be the most beautiful person in the world, but she's sleeping with everybody. She doesn't clean. She doesn't want to help you do
Lies to
anything.
you,
She
doesn't do
lies.
anything.
Yeah, that's not worth it. So
And
these
it
other things are.
honestly, it does make them ugly in
It
my
does make
eyes.
them ugly. You're right.
So,
You're right. Uh,
people can come over and say, "Wow, your wife is beautiful," or "She's beautiful," or this or that, and
yeah,
it's just like, I don't see it now
yeah.
because
Now,
I see the real her.
so I'm just sitting here thinking about the question, integrity versus honesty, and personally, I would choose integrity
Integrity.
every time because to me, you can be honest and still be bad, you know. But if you have integrity, your integrity is based on morals and
Right.
values. And when you have those morals and values, you we're all going to do the wrong thing sometimes. But when you have integrity, you realize that you own up to it, you take accountability.
Well, honesty, did you kill that guy? Yes, I did.
Yeah, I killed him.
That's being honest.
Yeah, I killed him. Yeah. Yeah. Did you murder that entire family? Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
did.
did. I did. Um, that doesn't make him a good person just because he's
Honest,
honest.
right,
Uh, the person with integrity would never be in that situation,
right.
you know? So, yeah, my response is integrity 100% of the time. And honesty, I think, will come from
Integrity.
that piece of integrity that you have inside of you, and you should carry that with you all the time. Um, but let's talk about bullying because you brought that up a little bit.
Yep.
Um, you said you were bullied in school.
Yeah, when I was younger in
Yeah,
1st and 2nd grade.
yeah, yeah. I was listen. I was in the Navy. There's a thing in the Navy where it used to be called hazing, where you'd get hazed.
Can't do that anymore.
You were the new guy, and you expected it, and it was part of becoming a team. Um,
And I think that works. You haze somebody, they go through it's just like initiation into high school.
100%. That I was going to bring that up. And I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore
Nope.
either. Um, I think just like anything, we can get carried away with certain topics and certain things and go a little too far. But I don't think that means you have to stop it entirely.
No.
You know, uh, how come we can?
I think it's an important part of growing up, to be honest with you.
Well, it's a social skill. You learn how to be part of something. Just like in a family, you get in trouble, you get teased by your brothers and sisters. Isn't that bullying?
Yeah,
Isn't that being bullied?
of course it is.
You're learning how to react socially to certain situations. Um, I think, yeah, I think, and again, I'm not pro bullying, but I think everybody does it. I don't think, I think we tend to stretch things to us. We want to stop things because we saw something bad happen.
Right.
And
Bullying,
we're so quick to do it though, Jim. And let me just finish this thought real quick. We're so quick to want to stop things. Well, certain portions of our society are so quick to put an end to things where something horrible has happened because I want to show that I'm trying to make a difference. When in fact, you could be hurting them in the long run, right? So my question is, these same people who wanna stop all this stuff just because something bad happened one time, or maybe 2 or maybe 20 times.
but 20 times out of how many?
Yeah, right, infinity,
And
the entire existence of human beings.
bullying, I always think of sticks and stones.
Yeah,
You
whatever
can call
happened
me
to that?
whatever you want.
Well, but you
Call
you know
me
what
any
they say now,
names.
Jim? They say, "Well, words are
Word
more damaging.
right.
They harm worse." Well, yeah, it can be hurtful, and they can last a long time, but so can, cutting your back ribs out with a
Right,
knife.
exactly.
That hurts too, and that's a scar that's never gonna go away, and somebody can say they're sorry for calling you a name, and you can be best friends. And if you're just if your skin is that
Thin.
thin, then probably
There's a
maybe it
problem with you, not
maybe it's not the bully,
right.
maybe it's not the bully. And but getting back to my point, Jim, we're so quick to stop certain things when something happens. What about automobiles? Why aren't we stopping automobile manufacturing? Because uh, the last time I looked, a lot of people died every year in automobile crashes.
And not just automobile crashes, but road rage incidents,
Yeah,
and it's
and
all caused by automobiles.
I don't see anybody out there holding signs in front of the UAW or any of these dealerships that I drive by every single day saying stop the manufacture of
And
auto.
manufacturing now.
Yeah, I'm not talking about, maybe they're doing that to Tesla, but that's a different
Right,
topic.
that's a completely
That's
different
that's a different topic.
situation.
But why aren't they, Jim? Serious question. Why aren't they out there
Because
trying
it's
to
too
stop?
convenient. Automobiles make things too convenient,
Yeah,
so they'll overlook it.
yeah. Don't you think living life is convenient?
No, living life is tough if you do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, I think it's easy if you do it the right way, because
Well,
you're
okay,
you're
I
you're,
get what you're saying,
you're
where
gonna
you're
have
going.
you're gonna have some hard times,
Right, that's what I mean by
but
tough.
everybody has hard times. There isn't anybody on this planet. Talk to the richest man in the world. Talk to that person who you look at their Facebook and all you ever see is flowers and trees and look how
Social media
wonderful
is
my
fake.
life is.
Social media is fake, you only see the good.
Yeah. And isn't that what, I don't know. I mean,
But you're right, if you're living life and you're doing things honestly and the way it should be done, life is easy because you don't have to try and hide anything, you're not gonna have to try and fix any messes. It's just you're gonna fall on hard times, of course, you're short on rent, short on money, things that can, if you're a good person, people will help.
yeah. Yeah. Oh, boy, I just thought of something when you said that. Um, the welfare system. If you're a good person, people will help. Um, yeah, if you're a bad person, people are going to help
Right. Yep,
because that's what good people do. They
yep,
want to help people in need. What they don't need is a government taking care of them.
that's right.
Um, and do I think welfare should be disbanded?
No, definitely not.
At 100%, no way. It's there for a
Definitely
reason.
not.
It does good. I do, however, think it should be temporary, um, and help people get back on their feet. Try to reach a goal, get them a place to live, get them some food, um, give a man a dollar he eats for a day, teach a man to fish. I don't know. I just
Then he doesn't get any back ribs.
then he doesn't get any back rib. Yeah. Oh, do fish have back ribs?
No,
No, they don't have
fish
back
don't have
ribs.
ribs at all.
Oh, they don't have ribs.
No.
Okay. I swear I had some fried fish ribs one time
Mhm.
when I was down in New Orleans. What were they yanking my chain?
They were yanking your chain. Those are,
Okay.
fish giblets.
Oh, the giblet.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that the same as a giblet?
No, God, no,
That's
John.
giblet. A giblet's on the left side. A giblet's on the right side. I think I remember that
And a
from
giblet is more
biology.
in the front.
I remember that from biology. Uh, th- Biology is science, right? Yeah, and
No,
you have to be a biologist and a scientist to know what a woman is, right?
no, you're wrong there. Biology, you said biology is science?
Yeah.
I thought after the last 4 years, you'd realize that Fauci
Oh
is
yeah,
science.
Fauci is science. That's right. Does Fauci know what a woman is? Because
He should, he's a
he's
scientist.
science.
Yeah, he is science, he's gotta know.
He's not even a
I wish
scientist.
Matt Walsh would have asked him.
Yeah. Well, there's so many people that just don't know. I mean, did you see that What is a Woman
I did.
program that Matt Walsh
I
did?
did. It was excellent.
Um, isn't it amazing how people will skirt away from the definition of what a woman
Of
is?
something so obvious.
It's just so plain and simple. I mean, Jim, to you, what is a woman?
A female
Human being.
human being,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
female human.
it's it.
Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
woman.
it's the simplest.
That's a woman. Female human. Uh, can can males have babies?
Well, no.
No, is
End
the
of
answer.
story.
Yeah,
No.
no is the answer. That's right. Um, Now, I did see a post on Facebook the other day. It's kind of funny, and it kind of irked me, as most posts on Facebook do. It showed a picture of a seahorse, and it was a male seahorse. And it says, "This is a male seahorse. This seahorse will carry the babies in a sack and give birth to the babies. He actually has a birthing canal that they come out of." And then it goes on to say, I guess Fauci wrote it because it says it was done by a science.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it says that, and it showed a video of the babies coming through this birthing canal. Well, I'm
I'm not
not
a
science.
seahorse.
Well, I'm not, no, I'm not a seahorse yet.
Yet.
Maybe I'll evolve into one, or become one. Maybe tomorrow
Well,
I'll want to be one. So that means I can be a seahorse. But my point is, the scientists, and I don't know if Fauci made him a scientist or what, but a scientist wrote this article, and the film showed the babies coming out of the birthing canal, uh, and immediately. And again, I'm not a scientist. I don't even know Fauci, so I'm about as far away from being a scientist as you can get. But the thought that crossed my mind was, how stupid is this? I know that male didn't give birth. What happens is
they carry him in a pouch.
the female has an egg. She deposits those eggs
In that pouch.
into that pouch. They then become fertilized, and they come out of the male.
Right.
So she has the egg.
Right.
He's not, giving birth. He's carrying the babies.
Yeah.
Big difference.
Well, it's kinda like when a penguin lays an egg, it's the males who sit on
Who
the
sit
egg
on
the
it,
whole
yeah.
time, so
Yeah.
once it hatches, did he actually give birth to it? No.
Right, right, right. No. Well, I was there when my children were born. Did I birth them?
No.
No. No. I was a part of it. I mean, I helped make them. Uh, but I guess that's another thing that
Which
bothers
brings
me,
me to another point,
is when
yes.
I hear these couples say, "We're pregnant."
Right.
No, you're not.
No, she is. You
She's
got her
pregnant.
pregnant.
She's pregnant.
You got her pregnant, but you're not pregnant.
We aren't pregnant. You're a man. Yeah,
Now, does it bother you when they say, "We're having a baby"?
uh, no, because they
They both
together
are having
they
the
together are
right.
gonna have it
Right.
and raise it.
Right. That's what I was
That
gonna get
that's
at.
that's
Right.
that's semantics. But we are not pregnant. She's pregnant. And if it's two men, two gay couples, they're not having a baby
At
ever,
all.
ever.
Ever. No.
They're never gonna have a baby. Th-
Well, they may get a baby,
They,
but
they
they're not gonna have one.
Yes, they may get a child, but they are not having a baby. Um, but two females, they could have a baby.
Yeah,
You know, you know, uh, with the help of somebody else, or
with the
some
help of a
a
male
man. Yeah,
sperm.
a man.
Right.
Nothing else. It has to be from a man. It can't be a tree. You
No.
can't get human sperm from a tree.
Nope.
Some people would have you think that, but you can't. You can get sap. Maybe they want to start
Sapling.
a a sapling. Start their own tree farm.
Oh, my.
Oh boy. Anyway, let's take a break here, Jim. You look hungry.
I am hungry. I could
Do you
really
need to
use some
eat?
back ribs.
Yeah. Yeah, get the knife away. Anyway, we hope you've enjoyed this introduction. We'll have more tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll drop our first episode tomorrow. We hope to do 2 a week. Hope you guys join us. Uh, we've got a lot of things coming up. Right now, we're just going to do the podcast. We hope that you guys enjoy it. We hope that you like us and follow us. We're going to be on YouTube.
Hopefully, we're on all of them.
Follow us on X. Follow us on Facebook. What's the other one, Jim?
Oh, even Spotify and
Yeah.
and
Yeah. What's that other Facebook?
TikTok, or well, not TikTok, but Instagram.
Yeah, the gram. Yeah, follow us on the gram.
Are we on Threads yet?
I think if we join Threads, we'll double the people that are following Threads. How many people are on Threads?
8.
8?
Yeah, 8.
So if we join, that would be 9.
Yeah.
What if we got individual accounts? That would be 11.
No.
Yeah, 8. Then
9, 10.
yeah, but then
Oh, and
we'll
then we
have
could
one
put
from.
there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah, 11.
So boy, we should get paid for joining
Yeah.
threads. Speaking of getting paid, we're considering having an option uh, for some other things. Become a member. $4,762 a month gets you a T-shirt and a mug.
The
No,
mug's broken, but
yeah,
you still get it.
you're still getting it, and it might not say anything on it. It might be an old mug that I got from a grocery store back in the day when you bought $6 worth of groceries.
They
You,
throw in a
you
mug.
got a free mug, maybe a saucer the next week. Do you remember when they did that?
Yes.
I wish stores would start doing that again.
We had those plates for a long time, all that stuff.
That's how we had all our dishes
Yep.
growing up. Golly.
Which reminds me of the Tupperware. Do you remember the Tupperware? We always had the brown, the orange, the yellow,
Green.
the green.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I do remember Tupperware.
My cup was brown.
Here's the thing I remember about Tupperware. You put spaghetti sauce in it,
and it was red.
and it was red for the rest of its
Yep.
life. It would never change.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I don't care what you put in it.
Yep.
You could wash it with bleach. You could put it in. You could wash
Boil it in
10
water.
times.
It
You could
didn't matter.
boil it. It doesn't
didn't
matter. It was red now.
It's inside now.
Yeah. What is that?
I don't know.
You know what's funny is, and I thought about this all the time growing up, is if that's sticking to that thing,
What's it doing inside
what's
of
it
you?
doing to me?
Yep.
Am I that color?
You are that color.
No, true. Real question here.
Okay.
Is everything in my body the color of spaghetti sauce because I ate it once?
Well, not outside of your esophagus and your stomach. It's just
No, but
in
the
your
inside, my
esophagus.
lining.
Yeah, the stomach lining,
It
your
is the color of
esophagus. It's
spaghetti
all the
sauce.
color of spaghetti sauce. Yes.
So
absolutely.
if you're in an area where they don't eat spaghetti sauce, their linings are going to look different than
right. Absolutely.
and it only takes once.
Yeah.